Hello, my name is Jack Dexter. I am going to be talking about my senior project today. The project I chose to study for my senior project was to research teaching and to also research coaching for football because those are two careers I want to pursue later in my life. And the thing I learned about teaching is that the average annual salary across the United States is around 62,000 a year, but honestly this varies state by state. So somewhere in Kansas will be making less than someone in California because the prices are just lower in Kansas than they are in California. And so yeah, and then you need a 4-year bachelor's degree to even be considered as a teacher across all 50 states. Most teachers major in the subject that they want to teach. So if I wanted to be a history teacher, I'd most likely major in history. But I'd want to minor in something to be more well-rounded. So like if someone majors in history, you'd want to minor something like economics so that you're more well-rounded and not so one-dimensional in a box. And another thing is that they need a lot of skills for their job. So they got to be able to work with kids, obviously, because that's a no-go if you can't work with kids. And you got to have good communication skills as well when it comes to it. So you got to be able to communicate what the assignment is and what specifically they have to do, because if you don't, then the kids are not going to succeed. And it's going to be hard for you to get a job. And what I learned also about coaching is that you most likely for head coaches, you're going to be a teacher at the school. So if you want to be a head football coach somewhere, you're going to have to be a teacher at that school. And when it's recommended that when you go to college that you take a little bit of classes. You don't have to take a ton, but if you plan on coaching, you should take a little bit of classes in like sports science and things of that nature, so that you know like what injuries come with the sport that you plan on coaching, or in this case football for me. I would know like how to do certain things, like how to read a concussion or something like that. So yeah, you basically learn stuff while in college so that it makes you more presentable as a coach if you want to do that later. Another thing that comes with coaching is that you make a little bit of a bonus basically with your teaching salary. So it's not much, but you would get a little bit more money from coaching a certain sport. And another thing about coaching is that you probably won't start off as the head coach. It's most likely that you'll have to build your way up. You'll start as like an assistant somewhere and then build up. Another thing about teaching is that there's multiple different like credentials that teachers have to have. It's on state by state. So like California is gonna have different credentials than Arizona. So like history teachers in California need to have more stuff than just majoring in history, as I talked about earlier, than somewhere else, because they just require more. Like they have to not just do history, they have to do social science, economics. There was another thing as well, but that's also what teachers have to do just specifically in California. And another thing about coaching that I learned is that you need skills for that as well, obviously. Like I said, you gotta know, like I said earlier, you gotta know about the sport, do the medical science. You also gotta be, like teaching, you gotta know how to work with kids, because they're not gonna, if you don't know how to coach like kids, then they're not gonna listen to you and they're not gonna respect you. And you always want to, as a teacher and as a coach, advance your knowledge in whatever you're teaching. So if there's some new idea that came out and you need to like basically adapt, you got to adapt all the time. Just make sure that you're always adapting to the environment around you, and make sure that you're teaching the best like knowledge of the sport or the subject that you will be teaching. And this is why I chose this project, and that is why I plan on doing this later in my life.